We're going to call the commission meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. The first item on the agenda is the minutes of the April 20 meeting. If there are no additions or corrections to that, I'd like a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 20th meeting.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Treasurer's report. We do have a representative from Abdu with us today, so I don't know if she has any comments that she wants to make or if any commission members have any questions of her, but
I can run through a brief summary of the report here.
okay.
So we reconciled all bank accounts through the end of March 2023 and then reviewed the activity within the commission and CCX media. The report is a summary of our observations. And as a reminder, all of this information is unaudited. The 12/31/2022 numbers are unaudited. The auditors are actually starting today. Looking at page 3 of that report, this is a summary of the checking and savings balances and the investments shown at market value. At the end of the first quarter, the total cash and investments was about $5.3 million. This is a reduction of approximately $372,000 from the 2022 balance. As we get into a few of the other pages, we'll touch on the reason for that decrease. I'm going to jump to page 5 of that report. At the top of this page is a graph showing the commission cash balances for the last 4 years. Notice the trends in this graph. Cash increases occur on a quarterly basis when those franchise fees are received. And the trends are very cyclical and following the last few years. So I don't see any concerns with cash balances as far as trends. The balances for 2023 are a bit lower than they have been for the last 2 years. And this is the result of a reduction in those franchise fees and PEG fees that we see month to month. Another key item to note on this graph is there's an orange line well below where the cash balances are. This orange line is your 50% reserve. So that's the cash balance that you want to have available to cover 50% of your expenses each year. Then we're going to go to page 7 of this report. It's labeled Attachment A at the top. This is a summary of the commission revenues and expenditures. For the commission, we compare your prorated budget for the first quarter to the actual costs and revenues for the first quarter. A few items to note here is that interest on investments is lower than it would be anticipated for the first quarter. And that is due to unrealized losses on the investments. As we noted in the last meeting, investments are held to maturity, so you won't actually realize those losses, but we're required to record investments at market value. The miscellaneous revenue line, that is also below the projected for the first quarter, and that's due to how revenues are budgeted. The CCX media revenue is actually budgeted in that line item. So as we worked on the 2024 budget, we're going to make some corrections to the way revenues are budgeted. Moving down to the expenditures, contracted services are above where, or actually they're below where we would have anticipated for this point in the year. And that's just due to timing of payments for video streaming of city council meetings. And then I'll note the capital outlay line as well. That's also below where we would expect the first quarter to be, and that's just due to timing of projects. Most of the capital related projects will happen in the spring, summer, and fall. I'm going to move on to page 11 of the report. This is the budget to actual comparison for CCX Media. Looking at the revenues seem reasonable compared to the same point in 2022. So here we're comparing the actual from the prior year first quarter to the current year first quarter. Advertising revenue, there might be a timing in receiving that revenue, but overall it looks reasonable. Looking at the expenses, that program services line is about $147,000 less than the first quarter of 2022. This is where the salaries and benefits show, and the reduction here is due to salary vacancies. Looking at that contractual services line, contractual services are about $35,000 more than this point last year. This is due to outsourcing the finance and human resources roles. So you've got a salary vacancy in the program services line, but you're outsourcing the finance and HR duties right now. And then the building operations, again, that's below where it was last year at the end of the first quarter, and that's really just due to timing and the capital needs for 2023 being different from 2022. And I can answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from commission members? Bill?
This required unrealized losses, page 7, I think it's page 7. Can you have it's required. Can you have a footnote that explains that, I mean, that's never gonna happen. It's sort of meaningless because of the way we do things. Can there be a footnote about that?
Yes, yep.
I mean, and then interest rates will go down maybe someday, and we'll have a whole bunch of high things, and it'll look good, and we won't realize that any different than what the schedule is anyway.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, I will add that.
Any other questions? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve the financial report. Nobody wants to approve it, huh?
I move to approve the
We're in
financial
trouble.
reports.
Bill, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item is recognition of Kimberly Sandberg. Shannon, do you want to handle that?
Yes, Chair and Board, we would like to thank Kimberly Sandberg for her service to the Commission and to the Executive Committee. She represented Golden Valley. She served on the Golden Valley City Council for 3 years, and she turned in her resignation on May 16th to the Council and to the Commission and Executive Committee the same day. She and her family are moving abroad, so we definitely wish her well and thank her for her service.
Any comments from commission members? If not, I'll just add what Shannon did. We appreciate the dedication and the commitment that Kimberly made, so thank you. Insurance liability waiver. Shannon.
Yes, sir. Each year, the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communications Committee votes not to waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability. This is a routine action that we take every year. So we're requesting that the commission vote not to waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability.
Questions? If not, would like a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Motion's been seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the bylaws. Shannon or Mike, which one of you wants to address that?
I can start. We've been working on the bylaws for about a year. They have not been updated for quite some time, so it's taken
Quite some time.
a considerable bit of work in the executive committee on behalf of Mr. Bradley and kind of going through those with a fine-tooth comb and bringing them up to date. Is there anything you'd like to add on that?
No, I agree. I just want to thank the executive committee and our executive directors for helping us through this process. The bylaws haven't been updated since 1995, and we did a complete refresh of the bylaws. They were actually in your packet for your last meeting, and there was little or no change to what was in your packet the last time. We recommend approval.
Questions? I'm sure you've all had the opportunity to read the bylaws to help you with your sleepless nights, so any questions from anybody? If not, I'd like to have a motion to approve the revised bylaws.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 4 is the approval of the contract for our new executive director, Shannon. It's been in your packet. I'm sure you've had the opportunity to take a look at it. It's pretty much patterned after the previous executive director, Dave. So I'd like to open this up for any discussion, if anybody has any questions. If not, I would like a motion to approve Shannon's contract. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Shannon, you're stuck with us now.
Thank you.
Information items. Mike Bradley.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, members. My legal report is in the packet. I just wanted to highlight that legislation was introduced this session, thanks in large part to your executive director, Shannon and Dave. And it's Senate File 3039 and House File 3261, relating to funding for access organizations for the creation of digital media. And what this legislation would do would be to impose a 1% tax on digital products in the state of Minnesota, and that tax revenue would be used to fund organizations like this one. It is not going to pass this session, but it was written, it was introduced, authored by Senator Nicole Mitchell of Woodbury, and then Representative Mike Freiberg of Golden Valley. And so that's a good first start on kind of continuing the dialogue on how to fund access television going forward, as we've been talking about over the last several meetings. As franchise fees and PEG fees decline, there needs to be a replacement for that funding for these types of organizations, which are critical for this area and across the state of Minnesota. So with that, I thought I'd also just mention, this wasn't in the legal report, franchise renewal work will continue through the summer. We had a little bit of a break in our work as we were doing some transitioning, but I expect that will pick up again here in the summer. We're also doing some digital equity work with Shannon and the commission, and we'll be doing that work. You'll probably be seeing a survey coming out soon related to digital equity planning, and we'll be doing some reporting here in June and July. And let's see, what else did I want to visit about? We just passed the bylaws for for the Cable Commission. We're also going to be looking at the bylaws for CCX Media. It's also been a while since we've looked at those bylaws. But a lot less time has gone by for those, I think only 20 years. So, but we'll be looking at those over the summer as well, and the goal is to bring it forward through to the executive committee for CCX, and then bring it forward to a CCX board meeting in the future. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mike? Out of curiosity, and maybe you don't know this, but the Texas issue against Disney and Netflix and Hulu, you think there's any meat to that? Mickey Mouse is getting picked on a lot, I know, and so is there any
Well,
validity to that?
yes. Yeah. There's and what the chair is talking about are there's some efforts in other states relating to receiving franchise fees on streaming services, and it really on whether that'll be successful is really dependent on state law and of every different state, and so some states are going to be more favorable than others. Most of the litigation has not ended successfully for local governments so far, but there are a couple that are out there that we're watching closely
Okay.
to see. You know, in Minnesota, I'm not as optimistic about that going forward, and that's probably why you haven't seen any litigation related to it yet.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike? If not, Shannon, do you have anything?
We'll move on to the digital inclusion survey update. Is that all right? And I'm going to call on Mr. Dave Kaiser, our Government and Community Relations Liaison. We've been doing a lot of work across the building on this measure. Dave, what can you tell us?
Shannon, and you do have information in your packet, so I'll take you to attachment number 8, which outlines the timeline that we're working on. And Mike mentioned the survey, and it is in your packet as well, so you can take a look at the survey, and I'll let you know that we shrunk it down a little bit. The first survey that came from the Office of Broadband was quite large, and we thought it might be a little difficult for people to complete. So we asked if they could have a smaller version, and they did that for us. The next point I'll make is on your table you have a card that has a QR code on it. And this is something that, thanks to staff working together on this, we have it put together so this can be taken back to your city, to your organization. It is out front here at the building, and it's a tool we're going to be using over the next month to gather information for the Digital Equity Committee. And I will just point out again, the timeline we're looking at, May 15th was the launch of the survey, and that has been launched. It's on our website. It's going out through social media as well. And then we're partnering with some cities, and I'm looking for your advice related to other groups that we might partner with in the cities, and I'll give you a little recap. We've been working with the community engagement team at the City of Brooklyn Park, and they suggested a Spanish version of the survey. So we do have that available as well, thanks to some help from our staff. And so that is out front, available for volunteers to pick up, but also will be used with some of the cities. We do have a meeting set with the City of Crystal and their senior services group. We are going to be talking with a focus group of some of their senior leadership. And then we also have the pleasure of having a table before the bridge and card playing, which we hear is where everyone goes in the City of Crystal. So we will get a lot of information from seniors in that community. Also working with senior services in the City of Maple Grove on some opportunities to connect with them. Osseo schools, we've made some initial connection to see if we can get to some student groups and get some information from some of the younger people in the area. We've talked with Prism in Golden Valley about some opportunities there. And CCX Media, again, has a table out in front, so Create volunteers can come in and take that survey as they're doing production work here. We also encourage you to stop by on your way out at that table, take a look at it, and I'll be there as well, so if you have ideas of other groups we can connect with, we'd be happy to hear that. Also, our email system, I know many of you are on our constant contact and see that email come out each week of stories that we've done. We're going to include that survey in there as well. And again, feel free to take the card. We have other cards available as well. So if you have others you'd like to drop this to take that survey, we would greatly appreciate it. with that, I'll stand for any questions.
I
Yes.
have a question. Is this the kind of thing that you are asking cities to share with the community at large? Would you like these in City Hall? You know, like if we had flyers or something to post or display somewhere in
Yes,
City Hall?
definitely, and we think the most effective way is probably going to be through a link. And so we have a link available too that takes people right to the survey, the same place you go if you get the QR code. That way the tabulation on the back end is much easier for us as well. So
Okay.
we will look at getting that link out to all of the city communication representatives.
Yeah, that would be great. If we could get like a digital copy of the materials
Yes.
as well, that would be fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Emily.
Any other questions for Dave? If not, Shannon?
I would just add 2 items too on that. We're collecting not only quantitative data, but qualitative, so we're looking for stories from people in the community. So if you know of organizations that are doing something really cool in digital equity work right now, let us know, and so we can take record of that. And also, I wanted to recognize board member Janina Posner, who actually translated the survey for us into Spanish, so thank you very much for doing that. And we have that in 2 different forms. We have a digital link that we're welcome to share, and then we have a paper copy that you can print out, or we'll print it out for you. So thank you very much for your help with that. And then I'll move on to communications. Is that all right?
Fine.
3 articles that I thought I would call your attention to that I thought were interesting. And in an effort to save paper, I did not include the full articles in your packet, as has been done previously. I thought I would hyperlink them. However, I realized in the middle of the night this weekend that the hyperlink did not work correctly on the digital packet. So that will be corrected in the future, but if you would like a direct link to any of these articles to learn more, I will be happy to send them to you. Beginning with Comcast reporting more energy efficiency. This was reported from Next TV, which is an industry broadcasting and cable resource. Comcast says its broadband network is 36% more energy efficient than it was 4 years ago, and they are attributing this to more innovation, software, AI, and less hardware in the system. So the full article, you can learn more there. Secondly, podcasts are growing as a source of news and information. And out of curiosity, by a show of hands, how many of you guys listen to podcasts? Yeah, several of you. This data from Pew Research Center, they really did a deep dive on all the different ways people are listening to podcasts, all the different topics that they're listening to podcasts. I think it's interesting that most podcast listeners say that they do hear news discussed, but only 1 in 5 actually listen to a podcast that's connected to a news organization. So I think that shows there is a desire to find your news from different diverse sources. And it's also a chance to mention we have a nice podcast studio right across the hall if you don't know about that. So please feel free to stick your head in. Javi and the Create team have done a lot of work on the podcast studio, and cities are definitely welcome to use that as part of their communications plan. And then finally, I thought this was an interesting article to be a kind of a kicker to end the commission meeting on. Covering local sports is very important. This article made the rounds in the industry. It was an article by Sports Illustrated that basically said sportscasts haven't really changed in the last 70 years with offering highlights and game recaps. And as a result, you're seeing sportscasts get smaller and smaller across the country. The stations that are having success and doing it well, bringing in numbers, are the ones that are covering local sports. And by local, I don't mean necessarily the professional teams or the Division I teams. They have plenty of eyeballs looking at them, but Division II, Division III, high school sports. And so I think that shows that there still is that hunger for local coverage, and local is our game. That's what we do here. So I thought I would share that with you as well. And that concludes my communications report.
Thank you. Anything else to come before the commission? If not, I'd like a motion to adjourn the commission meeting.
So move to adjourn.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Mark?
All right. Well, good morning, everybody, once again. We're going to go ahead and get started with the CCX Media Board meeting this morning. Second on our list, I think we've already got roll call taken, correct? Second on our list is our consent items, approval of minutes from the February 2023 meeting. there any questions about the minutes or any changes or anything? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? I'll second. Okay. Oh, Kevin,
I'll
you can have
second.
it. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect, that passes, wonderful. As is the case with many of these different items on this particular agenda, it's pretty much the exact same as what we just saw in the last meeting. So, looking at the approval of the treasurer's report that was already presented, I don't think, do you have any other additionals to present for us today?
No, I do not.
Any additional questions from our board members? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
second?
Second.
All right, have motion and a second. Any additional conversation? No, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect, passes unanimously. Action items on to the insurance liability waiver. Shannon, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
I do not.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved to approve.
Okay, good. Well, we've got them both there, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Motion passes. Approval of contract for the executive director with a 6-month review. Same thing. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I do not.
Mike, anything from you?
We recommend approval.
All right, there we go. So, hearing that, look for a motion.
So moved.
All right, and a second?
Second.
Okay, perfect. We got that. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. On to information items. My goal is to get this done even faster than Al can get it accomplished, so. Information item, Shannon, take us away.
All right, we have staff reports, and for the staff list waiting in the wings, I'll just say we're gonna have Corey, then John Jacobson, then Javi, then Tamisha, and then Mr. Chris O'Connor, so you guys can be on deck and ready to go. Corey is first as news director with our report from the news department.
Well, some of you probably know me, and I know most of you, actually, because I've been working behind the scenes for the last 18 years here. So, again, my name is Corey Bork, news director, and nice meeting you all. Thank you for your service here to the board. So, I'm not one to really toot my own horn, but there has been some pretty significant accomplishments from our organization here, and that's pretty neat for an organization like us. You know, we go up, compete against WCCO and KSTP and, you know, all the stations in town, and we happen to win some awards in that category, and I thought that was a pretty neat accomplishment. So I like to say we're not just some cute little community TV station. We actually do some real work in the industry, and we're being recognized for that, so that's pretty awesome. Some examples here, we have a team of photojournalists. I hate to say this, but they're trying to hire them away, but they want to stay here, so that makes me feel good, and I'm glad. And we had, I think they finished 8th tops in this market, tops in the Minneapolis market, which is pretty significant. Like I said, we're going up against all the big names in town here, so that's pretty neat. We had, we won some awards with the Midwest Broadcast Journalists Association. We're being recognized. You can see on the list here, I won't rattle everything off, but for newscast, newsmakers, which Shannon worked on. Shannon, I miss you as part of the news team, but you're thankful for your service now in your new role. And then obviously we did a lot of pre-COVID stories, COVID stories, and then we did a photojournalism piece about a radio-controlled airplane club, which I don't know if anybody know that exists, but that does exist, and that was recognized. Just want to say, as you know, many city halls have dealt with worker shortages, whatnot. We haven't been immune. We've been looking to fill positions for a long time, and we found 2 talented journalists to join our team. One is Rusty Ray. He comes to us he actually worked at WCCO Radio, and before that, North Metro TV in our area. And then we also have Kevin Miller joining our team. He comes to us from the Sun Post newspaper, and they're already having impact and bringing more local news coverage out in our area here. So I think that's very important. And then we have a new digital media member, someone who can work on social media for us, finally. Her name is, Shannon, I hope I get her last name right, Haley Shervin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so with that, I want to just say, anyone have questions for me, don't hesitate to call, email me. Happy to talk about news coverage, anything. I'm open, I'm all ears. So thank you for your time, and I'll turn it away to John.
Thank you, Corey, and good morning to all of you, and thanks for being here. We had another great year of high school sports covering winter sports in the area. The season concluded in late March with the state boys basketball tournament, and for the second year in a row, among the big schools, Class 4A, we had 2 local teams. All the schools in Minnesota, 2 of them, both of them from CCX area. It was a rematch of 2022. Last year, it was Park Center beating Wayzata. This year, it was Wayzata beating Park Center in overtime. So it was kind of cool to be able to cover that the 2 best teams in the state came from our area. And then the Class 3A champion was Totino Grace. Although they're in Fridley, they draw a lot of students from our area. Class 2A in girls basketball was Providence Academy in Plymouth. 3A Benilde St. Margaret's, again, just outside of our area, but it really draws a number of students from our area. So it was a terrific season of covering some tremendous athletes and teams throughout the area and all the sports, not just basketball. We had a lot of accomplishments in skiing and wrestling and hockey and everything else. That brought us to spring, and it was a very, as you knew, not a great April for weather, which affected our coverage. We lost 5 of our first 10 scheduled telecasts with our production truck, softball and baseball games, due to bad weather. We've had a nice stretch of weather here in May and getting games in, and we'll be getting into playoffs here right around Memorial Day. So the spring season really goes quickly. It's tough to get all the games in and matches, and then everything's done by mid-June or so. We had one big departure in our sports department, although we have a number of part-time people who work on our events and with our mobile production crew. Our full-time staff in sports is fairly small. Jay Wilcox and I have been here over 3 decades, and so Jason Malillo was the newcomer. He had only been here 16 years, but just took a job at a radio station in Winona. He and his family are moving down there. His wife's parents are down there, and they're in the process of moving from Plymouth down to Winona. So his job is open, and it's a big loss. He didn't do a lot on the air, but he did a lot of reporting, photography, and editing for us, and a tremendous loss for us. We are in the process of interviewing people right now. I phone screened one person. We've got a couple other people lined up, and hope to have a job offer in the next, certainly by the end of the month, maybe even by the end of next week, and with the hopes of having someone hired and on staff by July 1, which will be a big help going forward into the later stages of summer as we get ready for another season of fall sports in late August. Those were the main key points that I had to bring up today. Any questions from anybody? Comments? No? Okay, thank you.
Good morning, and my name is Javi. I'm a CCX Create Coordinator, and if we take a look over here, in exciting news, Maxwell Gable had received an award for the 2023 Best of the Midwest Media Fest, which we are very happy. He had competed against 8 other states and received first place for his show, Cable Hot Dish. So very excited for him. He's pretty pumped about that. And below we have the top 3 categories, faith-based, entertainment, and diversity and equity, which leads us over to Samba Fall. Samba came here a few years ago as a guest on various programming, and but now he had decided to create his own show, which led him to create his own podcast, which soon he will have his own kids on it, and he has lots of plans to make it go worldwide. So very creative guy. And up here on the producers meetup, We had our very first producers meetup of the year, which featured myself teaching members how to color grade on various editing applications, which was DaVinci, Premiere, and other programs, kind of doing some advanced classes, how to make your videos look colorful or give it some sort of feeling without just through images. And coming up, we're going to have our next producers meetup on July 12th. Just to recap on today's meeting, that's kind of what we have set up is on every producers meetup, we have our awesome board members, so Paul and Kevin, kind of give a recap, and hopefully everything goes well. Everything will go well. And, you know, just kind of excited to see what happens after that. Also, Elm Creek, students came through to catch a behind-the-scenes look at CCX Media TV's productions. So they got a tour. We kind of showed them around, showed them the cameras. We even explained how to get your framing correctly and how to shoot in front of a green screen. So they're very excited going back to school. And Blake is one of our current interns, bringing his creative expertise as a graduate from Hennepin Technical College. And with that, thank you for your time, and have a wonderful, wonderful morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Javi. Tamisha is up next, the Creative Services Department.
Okay, good morning. I wanted to do something a little different. Most of Creative Services work is not seen on the CCX Media channels or our website. And so how are you going to be able to see it? So we've got a little show today for you with some video clips of different things that we have worked on over the last quarter. And Sean, if you want to roll it. The first group of clips, we worked on a lot of city projects. So this was from the Maple Grove Police Recruitment Video, State of the City, Plymouth State of the City, and then 2 Brooklyn Park community events. They had a speaker, and then their community forum on race. And then our next group of clips is from clients that were hoping to raise awareness, support funds. So you saw pictured Seven Dreams Foundation, National Ataxia Foundation, and then also the Friends of the Minnesota Orchestra. And those were just to kind of further their respective causes. And then this final group of clips that you'll see on here was from the National Forum for Black Public Administrators Conference, which was called Forum 2023, and it was hosted in Minneapolis this year. It was their 40th anniversary, and the cities of Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park played a really crucial role in bringing that conference to the state. We were on site for 4 days, just providing a variety of different production services, and we've broken it kind of down by day, so you're going to see clips from a welcome video, a virtual interview that was done with the NFBPA president, video podcast, some B-roll. You'll also see clips from different interviews that we had conducted with keynote speakers, moderators, panelists, board members, forum attendees, scholarship recipients, exhibitors, and sponsors. And some of those interviews were done on a Forum 40 TV set that was actually set up within their innovation center, their exhibit hall. So I'll let that keep playing. I do have a number of staff that I would like to thank that worked from other departments that helped us out on some things. For the Maple Grove Police Recruitment Video, Dave Kaiser, Dustin Scholl, Adam Jukala, David Dobrin, and Ben Kroll worked on that. Plymouth State of the City, Dave Kaiser, Adam Jukala, and Mitch Cruz. And then from Forum 2023's Emerging Leaders Chat Cafe video podcast, Create members Max Gable and Jackson Ruiz helped us out on that. And if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. But my biggest thanks goes to Dustin Cooper, who plays a super key role in creative services, and he has worked on all of the projects that you saw and that you've seen listed in the report there. So I think there might be some music, Sean, so if you want to turn it up. There's just a little, 2 more days left. You'll see there were a lot of notable people there, and then I tried to show a lot of our local faces, so you may have seen the Brooklyn Center mayor, the Brooklyn Park mayor, former Minneapolis mayor was there, some city council people were there, as well as bigger name people that were there as well. So, but Sean, if you want to bring the music up. well, I hope you enjoyed the show and seeing some of the clips and things that we've worked on over the last quarter. If you've got any questions, I'm available to answer those now, or you can catch me after the meeting. And okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, I have to commend you on your choice of music, because when I was working in the connection, I think I used the shorter piece for Osseo at a glance.
Oh, okay.
Very good, upbeat piece. I like it. Well, CCX Cities, that's who I work with. I believe we bring, if information is power, we bring power to the people, empowering residents to take part in their city government. One way the connection does that is just promoting the events and programs that the cities have to offer and residents get to take part in. Some of those that they're promoting recently or in the near future would be flocculation plant tours in Robbinsdale, city pools opening, any number of, I have all these things written down, and of course it goes, anyway, an exciting one they haven't gotten to promote. It's been going on a year or two, is the Young Mudder in Crystal and New Hope. This is a great time of year for entertainment in the parks they get to promote. One being the Indigo Girls, Sue McLean concerts in Plymouth. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm going to echo Corey's sentiments. The connection, the team, Jenna, Roger, Beth, and of course, the hardest working man in TV, Dave Kaiser. Received an award for a Brooklyn Park story about the Brooklyn Park police chief putting a focus on gun violence. That was the Eric Severide Awards. I'm kind of partial to that one since he's a North Dakota boy, so am I. But, big kudos to them, because we do compete with, I think it's a major thing because we compete with larger stations in Minneapolis and Milwaukee, places. Well, they're big stations. Moving on to what I do. If you see less of me, that's probably a good thing, because I make sure your city meetings get out on the air and recorded, live streamed, and if you don't see me, then that means things are going well. Right now, we are working with Brooklyn Park and Robbinsdale, my apologies, to put new systems in those cities, control rooms. Kind of cool thing about it is that we're looking at equipment that we can remote into. So if we have an issue, it doesn't require me being there to figure it out. We can remote into it and make sure everything gets fixed. That, I think, will be a huge, huge thing, because just recently I had an issue in Osseo, whilst I also had an issue in Golden Valley. I don't know if you know how fast you can get from one city to the other. I do. At 6 o'clock, later rush hour. But that will be a good thing. We are getting some estimates on that. We've gotten a couple of estimates for both cities. They're rough estimates, but the numbers didn't make anyone choke, maybe cough a little, but, and let's see. Oh yes, and moving on from that, I think that's a great thing. We also recently added a couple of meetings for Crystal, added their planning commission meeting, and for Plymouth, we added their HRA meetings. And with that, I will finish up with, we're hiring. So we're hiring more directors. Right now, in most cities, we have one person, and we'd like to be back up to 2 in most of those cities. It just makes it go smoothly, and if somebody gets sick, I don't know if anyone's ever been sick over the last few years or had to call in for a week at a time, or, but it makes things a little easier on me. Oh, hey, Chris, you're working tonight at 6. Oh, it's 4:30 now? Okay, I can make that, no problem. So, yes, we are hiring. If any of you want to apply, I can arrange it. If you have a meeting on a certain night, I can arrange it to be on a different night. So, Bill, if you wanted, I could make sure that you only hit the Monday meetings, or.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Other than that, if anyone has any questions, you can ask me now or ask me later. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chris, and thank you for our staff members for being here this morning. I'm just so proud to be a part of this team and see the collaboration, the problem solving, and the creativity that people bring to the table absolutely every day. So thank you for listening, and as always, if you have story ideas, if you have thoughts on city coverage, or just give us a call. We're always here. Mr. Chair?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, the other Mr. Chair.
Wrong one. Is there any other?
The older guy.
Exactly. Is there any other business to come before the board today? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Someone's gotta wanna stay, right? No? Okay, unanimous. We are now adjourned at
Just as a note,
8:17.
the executive committees will not be meeting after this meeting due to a lack of quorum, so Shannon will set up another day and time, not 7:30.
Thanks, everybody, for coming in this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you.